Sully, really great to speak with you. Mad respect, because one of the things I definitely want to talk about is those the book and documentary about your life. And the reason why is because I think it connects so much with so many people out there who have gone through either something similar or just the frustration of feeling those incredible things that you went through. But like I said, mad respect for you, mad respect as an artist. Just mad respect, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, listen, we all have our story to tell, right? Some people want to tell it, some people don't. This just kind of happened. It wasn't like really planned. Several years ago, I wrote a book called The Paths We Choose, which was a memoir about the first 30 years of my life. And I didn't even know I was going to do that. Like, I don't know how to write a book. I never knew how to, I was never a writer. It was just me collecting stories because I was on the road for so long, missing my family and friends. And I'd call home and talk to some of the boys once in a while, and we'd get into reminiscing about the old times. And, I started realizing, man, some of these stories are really like, I don't know if I would even believe some of them unless they happened to me. So I just started jotting them down so I can remember them when I was 80 to tell my grandkids one day, like, hey, look what your crazy grandfather did. And then, the more I wrote these stories out, the more I started organizing them in the order of dates. And then next thing you know, I had like this manuscript going. So my manager read it and he was like, this is pretty cool stuff to read. You should think about publishing it. So long story short, we got the book published, and then this feature documentary just became an extension of that. It's kind of a snippet of the book. It's a 90-minute film about the first 30 years of my life and what I went through in order to even get a record deal, and I think it just is a story about perseverance. It's about, finding that inner strength when life continues to knock you down over and over again, to rise above that and push forward. And when you can do that and accept that disappointment is just a part of life, and move through those moments, sometimes there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it's, you just gotta, sometimes it's a son of a bitch getting there.
We're going to talk more about this, but I want to get right into the fact that one of the big reasons why we're talking, not just because of new music, but also because Fallsview Casino, my friend, you guys are going to be heading down there very soon. How does it feel coming up to the Niagara area where people just like, they're craving this kind of stuff?
Wait, man. No, are you Niagara on the American or the Canadian side?
Canadian.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have a bunch of friends in that area too, so it's always cool, and I'm excited to get back there. I wish it was a little bit warmer weather, but I'll take it. And hopefully, if we have a day off before or something, maybe I can hit the poker tables or something like that.
Yeah, you got to do that, man. What's the show going to be like? Like, what are we going to see in here?
Well, this is more, we called it the Vibes Tour for a reason, because really what we've chosen is like some very vibey songs that Godsmack has done that we don't always necessarily get to go and play on the big shows. There are some of the deeper cuts, or there's some of the other singles that we released and we just don't have time to do them all on a big show. We're going to blend that in with some acoustic performances, some electric performances, some covers, do some storytelling, things like that. So this is the kind of show that it's not the big show with the double drum battle and the pyro and all that. This is the one you want to take your mom to, or your wife or your girlfriend, and go to a nice theater and grab a drink or some dinner, whatever, come in, watch a good musical performance. And, our goal is to take people on a musical journey. That's what we're hoping to do.
One of the things I love about you guys, and not putting down other artists, but sometimes artists can get in their heads like, the audience is there for me. This is great. You guys seem like every time you go on stage, it is an honor for you guys to get out there in front of your fans. You can just tell when you guys go out there, it's like you're almost like when you say thank you for being here, you mean it.
Yeah, of course. We've been blessed to have this great career being a hard rock band, that who would have known we would even got this far. And now here we are celebrating our 25th year anniversary. Wow. And we are feeling grateful. We've gone through a lot as a band. I went through a lot in my life just to make this band a band. And then from the band's, birth until now, like, it's 95 we started this band, so really we're coming up on 30 years, but it's 25 years since the first record came out, nationally. So yeah, I mean, it's a, we're proud. We're good friends. We're still going. We still have success. We're still relevant. We haven't been downsized to like the nightclubs again, and we're wearing black leather jackets and dyed black hair at 65 years old. So, it is, there is a good feeling of being grateful for the whole career and the journey that we've taken, and still being able to do this.
Let's talk about 95. 95 was a weird time because you had Napster. You still sort of had grunge, but then you still had sort of like the boy band pop thing going on. It was weird for bands to try to figure out who they were and who they are. Canadian rock was doing really well. They were actually being able to have their own stage and actually being recognized. What was it like for you guys in trying to find your place in like I said, it was strange back then. I remember doing a lot of interviews with artists and I was just like, kind of like, what is going on? And there were some artists who were getting away with the old, I can sing and do this and whatever, but they couldn't play instruments and they actually couldn't play, weird time.
Yeah. Yeah. We were definitely in a transitional period, obviously coming out of the 80s, going into the 90s, grunge kind of killed the whole hair band revolution, right? And then grunge was around for a few years or whatever it was, and then there was this new metal wave that happened with Korn and Biscuit and all that stuff, and so we were this hard rock band just trying to find our way, and we had so many different influences because there's so many different members in the band, right? So we get people that come from a blues background, come from a rock background, a metal background, or whatever. And so, we had every influence from Alice in Chains to Nine Inch Nails to Metallica to Led Zeppelin and Rush and Black Sabbath. Like our music is all over the place. So we were just trying to find a sound. And then obviously when that whole new metal movement happened, we got kind of lumped into that genre category when we really weren't that. We weren't a new metal sound. We were just a kind of a classic hard rock band.
Yes.
And I think people have sorted that out over time, but yeah, we got lumped into that because we got signed and we were starting to take off during that period when those other bands were also becoming very successful.
What was the album that worked, and what do you think the single that finally put you on the national map?
Oh, for sure, it was the first single, Whatever. Yeah. I mean, we that wasn't on the record initially. Before we were signed, we had put out a demo CD called All Wound Up that had every record that's on every song on the first record, except for Whatever. So as we were promoting ourselves, playing the local scene, and we had this CD called All Wound Up, all the songs that you hear on Godsmack's first record were on the CD, but then as we were playing, Keep Away was actually the first single locally. And then as the DJs were playing that song and helping us out, then we had wrote Whatever, but we had already finished the CD. So what we did is we went and recorded that song separately. And then we made a separate CD that we put in like a little white sleeve, paper jacket. And then we attached it to the hard CD and put an elastic band around it. And that's kind of how we were selling our record. And when we got signed, the record label, had asked like for a copy of the CD, and we had to send them like what was a really professionally done CD, but then we had elastic banded this additional CD to it, so it just looked so ghetto, But it worked, whatever. But song Whatever, when that came out, it took precedence over Keep Away, and it took off. Plus, at around the same time, we got the deal, and then we got taken on the Ozfest for 2 years in a row. And between those two components, that really kind of launched the band.
What was it like getting your first Grammy nomination?
Oh, that was really cool. We got 4 of them and we still haven't won one. So I don't know how to.
It's coming. But what was the experience like?
I've been kind of like the Patriots when they had that undefeated season and then they didn't win the fucking Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So
I've been lucky enough to go to the Grammys 4 times. Isn't that coincidence with the number? So I know what the atmosphere is like and everything else too. What was it like for you guys the very first time in going and waiting to see if you were going to win or not, and just being around these stars where you're turning around, you're going, hey, isn't that, holy geez, that's so
Yeah.
forth and so on.
I remember that exactly, because I got to tell you, one of the years that we were up for a Grammy nod, we were sitting there, and I can't remember if it was I Stand Alone or if it was Straight Out of Line. It was one of those songs. But anyways, as they announced the hard rock category and they announced, the people that were in it, all of a sudden, all the cameras rushed over to me and Shannon. We were sitting there, and the camera was just like, oh, they get down on their knees and they're getting all set. And I'm looking at Shannon, I'm like, holy shit, we're gonna win this Grammy. He's like, what do you mean? I go, look what's going on here. All the cameras are surrounding us, like they want the reaction, right? And he's like, oh my God. And as I'm talking to him, I look over Shannon's shoulder, and behind him, about 10 seats down, all these cameras are surrounding Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters. And I go, fuck, we just lost. And he goes, what do you mean? Yet? I go, look over there. We're up against the Foo Fighters. We're done. And then boom, the Foo Fighters won it. We're like, son of a bitch. So, but it was fun. Still fun to do it,
It is. One of the things I always loved to do after the Grammys were done was, because for my family and friends who have never gone, those little, like literally they're booklets of the program. I would grab like 12 or 13 of them, stuff them. I would always carry a bag with me, stuff them in a bag, and I'd bring them home and pass them out, because I always thought those are the coolest things, because they're literally booklets. It's not like just a pamphlet. So I hope you still have yours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I keep all that stuff.
Well, look, man, we're not only just talking about you guys performing at Fallsview Casino. We're also talking about a great album. I always like to make this part official. What's the name of the latest album, and how does it represent the band today after 25 years, man?
Well, this album that we just put out is called Lighting Up the Sky. And something happened on this record that was just really kind of magical and organic, right? It kind of wrote itself almost. It was one of these records that we had no idea that it may or may not have been our last record. We're not sure where things are going to sit after this. We've had a good run. We still love playing music. We still enjoy it, but it's not everything we want to do with our lives. And there's other things that we'd like to have some time to do, because we're constantly touring, constantly writing, constantly recording, and it just consumes you. So with that being said, we just went in to write another record, but then as we got into conversations and hearing this record develop, the record was kind of telling its own story about a journey that we went through from the early days to the last song, which is the title track, Lighting Up the Sky, that really talks about, the whole picture of the career, running around the planet and going 1,000 miles an hour when we didn't know what we were doing and we were a young band. And would we do it again that way? Do we have any regrets? Stuff like that. But knowing that if we didn't do it that way, if I didn't do it that way, then maybe we would have never got to where we got to, right? So if I wasn't running around like a tornado, spinning around like crazy, lighting up the sky, right? That's the metaphor for it. Then would have even happened. So I can't really have any regrets, because it provided me with a life and my daughter with a life that, I'm able to at least not struggle, right? Pay her bills and help her get to college and stuff like that. So yeah, the whole record's been a real pleasure, and I feel like it's some of the best work we've ever done melodically, musically. It's a very catchy album. So I think people will really enjoy it if they haven't heard it yet, but they should hopefully have it by now.
Hopefully, my friend. Hopefully. I want to jump back to the documentary. What was it like for you emotionally to find all the excerpts, the visuals, putting this together and watching it back and seeing your life flashing upon a screen? What was that like to emotionally just to see that and feel that and know that is you?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it through a different set of eyes, right? Than a view someone else who doesn't know my life or know me. they're just going to watch this and be entertained by what I feel is a pretty good feature documentary. And for people that don't know what it's about the first 30 years of my life growing up in this very violent and challenging city called Lawrence, Massachusetts. And I had a lot of challenges growing up there and trying to figure out, how to get through this thing. Like it was about survival every day. And it was so much drugs and crime and violence and that kind of thing. But, the story really becomes about perseverance and getting over that, and trying to get past it and finding that strength to keep going whenever life knocks you down in search of that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? And so seeing it for the first time, it's obviously like looking at it through a different set of eyes. I think people will enjoy it. For me, it's emotional because, reliving all those events that happened are like, they were powerful. Some of them were very pivotal points in my life. So yeah, it's, I get to watch it with my mom and, my sister and two of my best friends that are in the documentary as well. And so that, my mom bawled her eyes out when she's seen it. Cause of course she had to go back to that time and place when, the struggle was real. And so, yeah, but again, no regrets, because I think these experiences are what makes us who we are today, prepares us for how tough life can be, and helps us understand how to get beyond those disappointments, because that's what most parents don't really prepare their kids for these days. Everybody gets the trophy. I hate that, because everybody should get the trophy, right?
Yes.
If you lose, you lose. You have to know that you're the loser in that, because then you have to learn how to reach down inside yourself and find your inner strength and become a little bit better and win next time, because then the triumph will be so much more rewarding than every fucking year you get the trophy.
Thank you for saying that. It drives me nuts. I had to fight just to get that bronze medal and stuff, And now it's like, oh, I don't have to do a damn thing. I'm going to get something anyways. Look at my trophy case. No.
Yep. No.
Thank you for saying that, man. Look,
disappointment is one of the key things to learn how to accept, because it's going to happen over and over again. It's the ones that understand that and know how to rise above it and push through it. Those are the ones that will truly be successful in life. Otherwise, good luck raising a spoiled brat.
Amen to that, brother. Look, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to say thank you so much for this interview. Thank you for the 2.5 decades of amazing music. Thank you for sitting where you were, because behind you, I think it's the Rush poster behind you.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of posters. Yeah, I'll give you a little quick. It's like the whole room is kind of set up with.
I love that, man.
All these old rock posters. There's Metallica Godsmack right there. Boom.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for the interview, and congratulations with the new album. Congratulations with the documentary. Hope we'll be able to talk again soon on whatever projects you have going, whether it's the band or if it's a solo thing with you, man. But you're an amazing individual, and just thank you for being such an inspiration to all of us.
Thanks, man.